even before Michael Jordan won the title in 91. From 88 on, it was clear that Michael Jordan, even with Larry Bird or Magic Johnson winning championships, it was clear that Michael Jordan was the best player in the world. Larry Bird called him God in gym shorts. I can say that.
Stephen A. Smith has had enough. The GOAT debate has been running wild for years now, and he is finally laying down the facts. No speculation, no fantasy, just reality. And what's becoming clearer by the day is this. LeBron fans are running on emotion, not evidence. The stats speak, the rings speak, the defensive accolades speak, and now Stephen A. is speaking louder than anyone. Before we break this all down, hit that like button, subscribe to NBA Showdown, and drop a comment below. Is Stephen A. right about LeBron fans being too emotional? Let's talk about it. Stephen A. Smith opens with a relentless barrage of facts that sets the tone for the entire conversation. He lays out the championships, the finals record, the defensive achievements, and the scoring dominance of Michael Jordan in one breath. This is not just about total points or longevity, it is about domination on both ends of the floor. Across an era where the physicality of basketball was on another level, Jordan's 6 rings are undefeated. His final series never even reached a 7th game. He was a scoring champion 10 times and one of the league's most feared defenders. When you lay these stats side by side with LeBron's, the argument begins to lose its weight. LeBron has been prolific and consistent, but he has not eclipsed Jordan in the one category that matters most: overall impact. Stephen A. is not relying on opinion. He is dropping cold, hard basketball facts that leave very little room for rebuttal.
The obvious. You do know that MJ has 6 titles, right? And LeBron has 4. You do know that, right? You do know that MJ was undefeated in all 6 NBA Finals appearances. Do you know that? You do know that Michael Jordan never allowed an NBA Finals series to get to a 7th game. Did you know that? I'm sure you did. Did you know he's a 10-time champion? And LeBron has won a scoring title 1 time? Did you know he's a 9-time first-team all-defensive player? LeBron James did that 5 times. Did you know that Michael Jordan is the former Defensive Player of the Year, 1988? LeBron James has never won a Defensive Player of the Year.
Stephen A. then pivots to something even more powerful: the impact of playing both sides of the court. He acknowledges LeBron's greatness and even calls him a worthy number 2, which is a huge compliment. But the gap between number 1 and number 2 is real, and he reminds us LeBron is about to get swept. That's not something that ever happened to Jordan in a best-of-7 series. This is important because it brings into focus the consistency and dominance Jordan maintained even when the stakes were at their highest. To never let a finals reach a Game 7 and to never be swept in a 7-game series tells you everything about his killer mentality. Stephen is not just analyzing stats, he is pulling in context. The kind of context that separates all-time greats from the greatest of all. And in doing so, he's making it painfully clear that LeBron, for all his brilliance, just has not done enough.
We're talking about what you do on both sides of the court, and we're talking about Michael Jordan, in my mind, being the greatest, but not throwing any shade on LeBron James because he's the worthy number 2. But he's about to get swept.
Stephen then reminds people of Jordan's early career struggles to emphasize that even when he lost, it looked different. Yes, Jordan was swept twice, but it was in best-of-5 series, and it was against Larry Bird's Boston Celtics. Once the format switched to best-of-7, Jordan was never swept again. That stat alone speaks to his resilience. It shows how, even in defeat, Jordan stood tall. This isn't just about rings. It's about the narrative of dominance. Jordan's rise to greatness happened during a time where losing didn't come with excuses. He faced the heat, got better, and took over the league without ever needing a super team or media push to do it. Stephen uses this point to highlight that LeBron's journey, while impressive, has too many caveats, too many but what ifs. And that's why fans who claim LeBron is the GOAT sound more emotional than rational.
By the way, Michael Jordan, he got swept twice, just like LeBron did. But it was in best-of-5 series in 86 and 87 to Larry Bird, McHale, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, and those boys, in a best-of-5 series. Michael Jordan has never gotten swept in a best-of-7 series in his career.
Stephen A. then dives into something that gets often ignored in the GOAT debate: how people perceived the player during their era. During the peak of LeBron James's career, there were debates about who the best player in the league really was. At different points in time, names like Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and Steph Curry were all in that conversation. There were no debates. He was undisputed. Not because ESPN said so or because NBA Twitter blew up about it, but because every player, coach, and analyst knew it. There was never a question. Jordan was the guy. Stephen A. emphasizes that real greatness eliminates doubt. It silences the noise. That never happened with LeBron. The fact that his greatness has always required defense from fans and media tells you everything about where he really stands.
Do you understand that during the LeBron James era, there were debates as to whether or not he was the best in the world because Kobe was still playing at one time. Tim Duncan was still playing for a large chunk of that time. And ultimately, Steph Curry has been playing a large chunk of that time. Do you know that when Michael Jordan was playing, there was never a debate ever as to who was the best in the world?
In an even more compelling point, Stephen A. makes it clear that Jordan's dominance began long before his first championship. Even as early as 1988, the league already saw him as the best in the world. That was with legends like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird still playing. And you know what? Even they acknowledged Jordan's greatness. Larry Bird calling Jordan God disguised as Michael Jordan wasn't just a compliment, it was an admission of superiority from a fellow icon. This kind of reverence is something LeBron has never received from his peers in the same way. Jordan forced respect. He didn't have to demand it through a media campaign. He didn't have to say it himself. The league saw it and they said it for him. That's what makes Jordan's legacy airtight. Stephen A. is basically saying, if you were there, you knew, and if you know, you know.
Even before Michael Jordan won the title in 91, from 88 on, it was clear that Michael Jordan, even with Larry Bird or Magic Johnson winning championships, it was clear that Michael Jordan was the best player in the world. Larry Bird called him God in gym shorts.
Finally, Stephen A. closes his breakdown with a statement that cuts deep into the psychology of LeBron's fan base. When he asks Shannon Sharpe why he feels insulted when someone says LeBron isn't number one, Shannon admits that he does not feel that way, yet clearly does. That contradiction proves Stephen's point. LeBron fans are responding with emotions, not facts. The need to protect LeBron's legacy has gone beyond basketball. It has become a personal attachment. But emotions cannot erase the record books. They cannot fabricate dominance where it never existed. And this is exactly where LeBron's campaign falls apart. Jordan never needed emotional appeals. His game did all the talking. The problem with the LeBron argument is not just the lack of evidence. It is that the emotional investment of his fans often clouds their judgment. But Stephen A. calls it like it is. LeBron fans are not having a basketball debate. They are having an identity crisis. Stephen A. Smith did not just state his opinion. He exposed a pattern of emotional defense, shifting narratives, and media manipulation. He made it clear that the GOAT conversation is not just about numbers or highlights. It is about unquestioned dominance. And Jordan had it in ways LeBron simply never did. From accolades to attitude, from reputation to reality, Jordan's case does not need constant defending. It is self-evident. Meanwhile, LeBron's camp still has to beg for recognition, justify losses, and spin narratives. The truth? That debate ended a long time ago. If you agree with Stephen A., hit that like button and comment below MJ is the GOAT. Subscribe to NBA Showdown for more hard-hitting breakdowns, and we'll see you in the next one.